I'm Lily, 28 years old, a graphic designer living in a cozy apartment downtown with a cat named Oliver, and, until a week ago, a fiance named Daniel. I've always been the responsible sister, the planner, the one who never missed a deadline, who worked part-time jobs through college, while Emily floated through life like a butterfly. She's 2 years older than me, but somehow I've always been the one cleaning up her messes. Growing up, Emily was the golden child. She was beautiful in a way that made people stop mid-sentence, with that glossy blonde hair and perfect smile that landed her roles in every school play. Our mom adored her, and Dad called her princess, while I was just me. I was the quiet one, the studious one, the one who blended into the background, and Emily loved the spotlight. She thrived on attention, whether it was from boys at school or our parents at the dinner table. Still, I loved her. She was my sister. Even when she borrowed my clothes without asking, even when she flirted with my crushes, just to prove she could, I defended her to everyone. When Daniel came into my life, everything changed. He was kind, grounded, and adored me in a way I'd never felt before. Emily seemed happy for me at first, but there was always this flicker of something in her eyes, jealousy maybe? She teased me about snagging someone so handsome and would sometimes make little jokes at family dinners that made me uncomfortable, but I brushed it off. We'd never been close enough to fight openly, but there was always tension, an unspoken rivalry simmering beneath the surface. I never imagined she'd take it this far. The week after my ruined wedding felt like a fever dream. My apartment was cluttered with unopened gifts and wilting flowers, while my phone buzzed nonstop. Friends asking if I was okay, relatives demanding answers. I ignored most of them. My mom, however, let him be ignored. Lily, sweetheart, I know you're hurting, but Emily was only trying to protect you, she said over the phone, her voice thick with pity. I bit my lip so hard it nearly bled. Mom, Daniel swears that picture was staged, that it wasn't even recent. Mom sighed, her tone clipped. Daniel's a charmer, honey. Emily saw the signs, and she did what any sister would do. That stung. Mom always took Emily's side. Always. And now, without even asking for my version, she'd already decided Emily was the hero of this story. I hung up before I said something I'd regret. Later that night, my best friend Mia came over, armed with Thai takeout and a bottle of wine. She sat cross-legged on my couch, scrolling through Emily's Instagram. Lily, this is weird, she murmured, zooming in on a photo Emily had posted from a girls' night out, the same night she claimed she'd caught Daniel cheating. My heart pounded. What's weird? Mia held up her phone. Look at the timestamp. Look at her outfit. She wasn't at a bar. She was at some rooftop event. And this guy... She pointed to a man in the background. That's the photographer she's been tagging in every post lately. She's lying. It was like someone poured ice water down my spine. For the first time, I let myself consider what Mia was implying. Emily hadn't saved me. She'd destroyed me on purpose, and I needed to find out why. The next morning, I woke up with a pounding headache and a fire in my chest. I couldn't let this go. I needed answers. I needed to look Emily in the eye and hear her admit what she'd done. I called her. We need to talk, today. Her voice was sugary sweet. Oh, Lil, I know you're upset, but... Emily, noon, Cafe Verona. My tone left no room for negotiation. She sighed dramatically, but agreed. When I walked into the cafe, she was already there, hair perfectly curled, nails freshly manicured. She smiled like nothing had happened. You look exhausted, she said, sipping her latte. I sat across from her, my hands clenched under the table. You ruined my wedding. Her expression flickered for a moment, then softened into faux sympathy. Lily, please, I saved you from a man who was cheating on you. You should be thanking me. Cut the act, Emily, I hissed. I know that picture was fake. Mia found your post from that night. You weren't even at that bar, so tell me, why? Why would you do this to me? She leaned back, crossing her legs, her smile morphing into something colder. Because, Lily, you've always had everything handed to you. Daniel adored you. Mom and Dad suddenly cared more about you than me. For once, I wanted to be the one people cared about. Her words felt like knives. You destroyed my happiness because you were jealous? Emily shrugged, swirling her spoon in her coffee like she hadn't just confessed to detonating my life. I realized then that Emily didn't regret a thing. She was proud of what she'd done. And that's when I knew I wasn't just going to get answers, I was going to get revenge. I sat there stunned, my fingers gripping the edge of the table so tightly my knuckles turned white. Emily, my own sister, had detonated my life out of spite. "Do you even hear yourself?" I whispered, my voice shaking. Emily tilted her head and smirked. "Yo, are being dramatic. You should be thanking me. Now you don't have to waste years on a man who would have cheated eventually." "Emily, he didn't cheat," I snapped. "That photo was staged, and you knew it." She rolled her eyes. "So what if it was? It got the job done. Daniel was never right for you. You'll thank me one day." Her casual cruelty made my stomach twist. It wasn't just jealousy, it was malice. She wanted to see me humiliated. I stood abruptly, my chair scraping against the floor. "You ruined my wedding, Emily. You embarrassed me in front of everyone I love, and you think I'll thank you for it?" She leaned back, smirking. "You've always been too sensitive. Maybe this will toughen you up." I could feel eyes on us from other tables, but I didn't care. My hands trembled, tears threatening to spill. "You're pathetic." Emily's expression hardened. "Watch your tone, Lily. Don't forget who Mom listens to." And just like that, I realized she wasn't just jealous. She was power hungry. She thrived on control, on being the family favorite. I grabbed my bag and stormed out, my pulse pounding in my ears. The cool autumn air hit my face, but it did nothing to soothe the rage burning inside me. Emily thought she'd won. She thought she could destroy my happiness and walk away unscathed. But I wasn't going to let her. This wasn't over. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. Emily's smug face burned into my mind. Every time I blinked, I saw her sitting in that cafe, sipping her latte like she hadn't just destroyed my life. I couldn't let it go. I couldn't just move on, not after she'd humiliated me in front of everyone I loved. I reached for my phone and scrolled through Emily's Instagram again. She had over 1,000 followers, posting glamorous pictures of herself at rooftop parties, charity events, and expensive restaurants. She loved attention. No, she needed it. That's when an idea sparked. Revenge. Not the petty kind, not yelling at her or cutting her out of my life. This needed to be precise, devastating, and permanent. I knew Emily's fiancé, Tyler, had proposed just 6 months ago. I also knew he was loyal, maybe too loyal to her. But Emily's history with men wasn't exactly spotless. She had a bad habit of flirting with guys, even while in relationships. So I started digging, quietly, carefully. I reached out to a friend who worked at one of the rooftop bars Emily frequented. "Do me a favor," I asked her. "If you see Emily there with someone, take pictures, discreetly." Within a week, my phone buzzed with photos. Emily wasn't just flirting, she was practically glued to a man I didn't recognize, leaning into him like Tyler didn't exist. My stomach twisted, but I kept scrolling. I gathered screenshots of texts she'd sent him, selfies she'd hidden from her public page. Emily thought she was untouchable. She thought no one would ever hold her accountable. But I had everything I needed now. She ruined my wedding. I was going to ruin her engagement. Over the next 2 weeks, I became a ghost in Emily's world. She texted me a few times, smug little messages like, "Hope you're taking time to heal, sis," or "You'll thank me someday." I ignored every single one, while she flaunted her perfect life on Instagram. I was busy constructing the trap that would tear it apart. I compiled everything I had into a neat little folder, the photos of her with the mystery man, screenshots of flirty texts, a couple of videos my bartender friend had taken of Emily, laughing and touching his arm like Tyler didn't exist. I even dug through old group messages and found subtle lies Emily had told Tyler to cover her girls' nights. Piece by piece, her flawless image crumbled in front of me. Mia helped me put it all together. One evening we sat on my couch, my laptop glowing between us. "Are you sure you want to do this?" she asked softly. I hesitated for a moment. Revenge wasn't who I was. I was the peacemaker, the dependable one. But then I remembered standing at that altar, my heart breaking in front of hundreds of people, and Emily smiling like she'd won. "Yes," I whispered, "she deserves this." We drafted an email to Tyler. No drama, no accusations, just cold, hard evidence. I even added timestamps and a summary of each piece of proof. It wasn't emotional, it was factual, damning, impossible to deny. The last step was deciding when to send it. That's when I realized Emily and Tyler's engagement party was coming up next weekend, the perfect stage for her fall from grace. I closed my laptop and exhaled slowly. Next Saturday, I told Mia. She won't see it coming. The night of Emily and Tyler's engagement party felt surreal. I wore a simple black dress and kept my hair pinned back, trying to look as neutral as possible. My heart pounded like a drum as I walked into the lavish ballroom they'd rented, a place dripping with crystal chandeliers, white roses, and tables lined with champagne flutes. Emily had spared no expense to flaunt her perfect life. She spotted me almost immediately, strutting over in a glittering gown, her diamond ring catching the light. "Lily," she gushed, pulling me into a hug. "I'm so glad you came. You look better." Better. Like she hadn't humiliated me weeks earlier. I forced a smile. Wouldn't miss it. Her eyes sparkled with triumph, and I could almost hear her thoughts. I won. Tyler was across the room, charming as ever, greeting guests with a warm smile. He looked happy, in love, completely unaware of what I'd uncovered. My stomach twisted. This wasn't about him. He was collateral damage in Emily's game, and I hated that, but he deserved the truth, and I couldn't let guilt stop me now. As the party buzzed with laughter and music, I excused myself to the restroom. My hands trembled as I opened my email app, attached the folder of evidence, and typed, "Tyler, I'm so sorry you're finding out this way, but you need to know the truth about Emily before you marry her. I hope you understand." I hovered over the send button, my chest tight. Once I pressed it, there was no going back. I thought about my ruined wedding day, Emily's smirk, and every cruel word she'd ever said to me. I hit send. Then I slid my phone back into my clutch, straightened my dress, and returned to the party, my face calm, my heart racing. I slipped back into the ballroom, my heart thundering in my ears. Emily was laughing with a group of her friends, tossing her hair back like she owned the room. Tyler was across the room, his phone in his hand, his expression slowly shifting as he scrolled. I knew the moment he saw the first photo. His smile faltered, his jaw tightened. Then came the texts, the videos, the timestamps. He went pale, his shoulders stiffening like a man bracing for impact. Emily noticed his change in demeanor immediately. "Ty," she called sweetly, weaving through the crowd toward him. He held up his hand to stop her, his face carved with betrayal. The music felt deafening, the chatter of guests fading into background noise. "Who is he, Emily?" Tyler's voice was sharp, loud enough to make heads turn. Emily froze. "What are you talking about?" Tyler shoved his phone toward her, his voice breaking. "This, all of it. How long have you been lying to me?" Gasps rippled through the crowd. Emily's flawless mask cracked. "Tyler, I can explain. This is enough," he snapped, stepping back. His voice trembled with rage and heartbreak. "You humiliated me in front of everyone we know, and now I find out you're the liar. We're done, Emily. The wedding is off." She reached for him, desperate now, her voice shrill. "No, Tyler, please." But he was already walking away, shoving past stunned guests. Emily spun around, her face pale and furious, scanning the room like she knew exactly who had orchestrated this. Our eyes met. Her glare could have burned through steel, but I didn't flinch. For the first time in my life, Emily wasn't the one holding the power. Emily stormed toward me, her heels clicking sharply against the marble floor. "You," she hissed, her perfectly made-up face twisted in rage. "You did this." I didn't move. "You ruined my wedding, Emily. You humiliated me in front of everyone I love. Did you really think I'd let that slide?" Her nostrils flared as she glanced around the room, guests whispering, cameras flashing, Tyler pacing by the exit, running his hands through his hair. Emily had always been so composed, so untouchable. Now she looked like a porcelain doll cracking under pressure. "You're pathetic," she spat, her voice trembling. "You've always been jealous of me." A bitter laugh escaped me. "Jealous? You destroyed my life because you couldn't stand that. For once, someone chose me over you." Emily's eyes darted toward Tyler, who was now speaking with his best man, both men glaring at her like she was a stranger. She turned back to me, tears welling in her eyes. "You don't understand." "No, Emily, I do. You're so desperate to be the center of attention that you burn down your own life to get it." Her lip quivered. For a brief moment, I saw fear flicker across her face, the realization that this wasn't just a fight she could charm her way out of. People were staring openly now, whispering behind their hands. Emily turned and fled, heels clattering as she pushed through the crowd and disappeared into the hallway. Tyler didn't follow. I stood there, breathing deeply, my hands steady for the first time in weeks. Emily had tried to take everything from me, but tonight she'd lost everything herself. The ballroom felt eerily quiet after Emily fled, even though music still played softly in the background. Guests whispered, avoiding my gaze as I slipped out the side door, the cool night air washing over me like a reset button. My heels clicked against the pavement as I walked to my car, heart poo. Ending, but this time it wasn't fear, it was release. I'd imagined this moment so many times. I thought I'd feel triumphant, vindicated, maybe even smug. But instead, there was this hollow ache in my chest. Emily wasn't just my enemy. She was my sister, a sister I'd once shared secrets with late at night, a sister I'd defended my entire life. And yet, she'd chosen envy and cruelty over love. She'd tried to shatter me, and in defending myself, I'd shattered her. I wasn't proud of it, but I didn't regret it either. Revenge hadn't brought me joy, but it brought me peace. For the first time in years, Emily couldn't control me. I wasn't the timid, overshadowed sister anymore. I was someone who could stand up for herself, and that mattered more than any satisfaction I might have felt. Over the next few weeks, Emily's engagement unraveled completely. Tyler moved out, returning the ring. Her glamorous social media presence grew quieter and quieter until she disappeared entirely. My family, once blinded by her charm, began to see her for who she truly was. I didn't gloat, I didn't rub it in. Instead, I focused on myself, on healing, on rebuilding the confidence she'd spent years chipping away at. Looking back now, I've learned something important. Revenge doesn't fix broken relationships, but sometimes it teaches you who you are and what you're worth. I realized I'd spent years seeking Emily's approval, our parents' praise, even Tyler's validation. None of it mattered. What mattered was me choosing myself. If there's one thing I hope someone takes from my story, it's this. Family doesn't always mean love. Sometimes the people closest to us can be the ones who cut deepest. You can't control their choices, but you can choose to protect yourself, reclaim your power, and never let someone else write your story.